What's up, boys and lady boys? Today, we're going over some belts. How you keep your pants up?
Belt.
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 So today we're doing something a little bit different. We are reviewing these Core belts. Carl over at Core was nice enough to send us out some belts of our choosing from the website. So we chose these, and we're gonna kind of go over what we like about them, what we don't like about them, and
bring a review to you guys. Yeah, so there's a lot of pros and cons. I think the pros heavily outweigh the cons that we have on these. But we do have some feedback compared to like your Agonic belt, as well as my Blue Alpha belt. Minor differences, major differences, stuff we prefer, like, don't like. But yeah, so what I got here is just the straight up black tactical gun belt. I think these are what, 1.5 inch variants. We both chose the made in USA versions because, you know, keep it in the US.
I got basically the exact same one, except the black camo with a different belt than he got. My belt is a little bit shorter than his.
You got the X7, I got the X5 buckle.
Pros of these things.
We got a lot of itties in here. Modularity, #1. Cool thing about these ones, kind of just rolls into all the other ones, ties into the whole thing. But basically this one belt can do it all. So you can see, you know, nice and rigid. You know, if you're carrying your gun on you inside the waistband, outside the waistband, this one helps a lot. Just because you have that on the fly adjustability, you just hit this little lever down here. You got that ratcheting on the back side here. The
other cool thing about these is the adjustability. Going off of what Bryce said, you can either tighten it up or you can loosen it out, either for the big boys or for the small dudes. Honestly, like they advertise, a straight fit every single time. It's pretty good.
And these ones come pretty big. It's like, what, 40 something inches, 50 something, or yeah, 54 inches.
Straight from the factory, these do come 54 inches. You cut them down to whatever size that you need, leaving a little bit extra.
Yeah, generally about 6 inches past like what your standard belt is. Like for example, if I'm a 32, I'm gonna go up to a 38. Cut at the 38 mark. Definitely use some good shears because this is some rigid stuff.
Now the 6 plus size that Core does recommend to you, we're kind of gonna get a little bit into that, but your mileage may vary with it. So be careful when you're cutting because you can't really go back.
Build quality, obviously, you know, being made in the US, this thing it's pretty flawless. Like you can't really go wrong on this one.
This thing is really nice and rigid. Like he was saying, everything on here is pretty damn good. The outside layer with whatever color that you're gonna run with, everything sticks on really well. It's really just a good quality build. The material that they use is nice and rigid. We will get a little bit more into the cons of that one, but this is a solid built belt. The buckle is also really nice. They are pretty small for what it is, but again, we'll get into that later.
Then one of the last ones we have on the list is gonna be comfort. I think these things are honestly pretty comfortable. I've been running a Blue Alpha. I think they call it their hybrid belt. Which I love. I think it's really awesome. But this is right up there with it. Build quality and all, you can't really go wrong with this.
Yeah, I've had absolutely no issues with this thing being comfortable. When we first got it, they were pretty rigid. Straight out of the factory, it's gonna take a little bit of getting used to. You do have like kind of a break-in zone where these things become a little bit more flexible, but not really losing that rigidity. Same thing. Has been holding up strong for about a month now.
Kind of going back to like what we're talking about cutting off, like this is a section that I cut off of mine. This is probably like 1.5 feet, like 14 inches almost. Yeah. Basically they have this like nice rigid inner liner here. Then you have your, what is this, like fabric outer layer. Look at it. Nice and rigid. Also, another cool thing is accessories. So they were able to hook us up with a bunch of stuff in the box. So obviously the 2 belts comes with the hardware. They're also cool enough to send us this little hanger.
That hanger has been pretty cool. When you're not using your belt, if you don't really have a good place to be either hanging belts or you just need a little bit of extra storage.
You just hang it up like that. if you have a couple core belts, obviously you can have 3 on here.
Something else we wanted to point out was putting this thing together the very first time. It was pretty straightforward. Bryce, of course, read the instructions. I did not. I kind of just went with it, looked at the belt, and figured it out pretty easily. So if I can do it, honestly, like 60% of you guys can too. No, but these things are super simple to put together. So that was a nice part. Now putting it together, that is kind of the only pain to it, was you had to actually put together your belt. I've never had to put together a belt like this before. Like when I got my Agonic, it was just took it out of the box, threw it on my waist. So yeah, that was really easy. But these core belts just takes a couple of minutes, maybe like 10 minutes to actually put everything together, get it to your size, and you're good to go.
So also what they included for us with the accessories are gonna be what they call like the tip keeper over here and the belt protector sleeve. So basically, tip keeper obviously holds that extra tail end, because that's a lot of flop that you got excess stuff if you're adjusting it a lot. So you just slide it in here, keeps it nice and tight to your body. Other side's gonna be for more like EDC pistol type stuff. So if you're running inside out the way or outside the waistband, helps prevent any kind of fraying on your belt itself.
So besides these belts right here, they have a whole range of options that you can actually choose from. You can get what our buddy Sean has, which is just a everyday leather belt. That one is, he says it's super comfortable for him. He's been wearing it for a couple of months now, so he's had absolutely no issues with it. The other one is that they have range belts.
Running through drills, got a lot of accessories on you, or that kind of similar to like battle belts as well. So.
Yeah, they do have a couple of battle belts as well. So Core, if you're watching, we'd love to try out your battle belts too. They offer a couple of other things, sunglasses and a couple of other accessories, but we're not gonna get into that right now. Either way, they do offer a whole lot of stuff. So it is a good place to go grab whatever you're looking for if you are looking for something specific, because they have so many different options.
Tons of EDC essentials for sure.
So now to get into the cons from our personal experience with these belts. Honestly, there aren't a whole lot, and we kind of started to nitpick at things just to find a couple of cons. So these are just our personal experiences with them, but got a couple. So the very first one is going to be the thickness. As far as the ones that we have chosen, the USA made ones that are ready for EDC, these things are very thick. We actually took some shears to cut this down, and they didn't work very well. So we had to use some of our better shears to cut these down, but these things are super thick. And honestly, it is kind of a hassle sometimes getting these into your belt loops on your pants. So that's really been one thing that immediately when we took them out of the box and threw them on, that was the first thing that we noticed.
Yeah, that could also tie into being a pro itself, just back to build quality. Obviously you need to have that rigidity for your belt. But one of the big things for me is coming from that Blue Alpha Gear belt with that Cobra buckle is the release on these things. So it's basically this tiny little switch back here. If you're running like off the side or in the front, it can be kind of cumbersome to get to a little bit, kind of hunting down for where it's at. I don't know, what are your experiences with finding the release?
Getting to the release has been no issue. My biggest thing is that you either need to kind of pull the belt a little bit closer together to actually get it unhooked from the belt itself. And you can't do it with one hand. I mean, you can do it with one hand, but it is definitely, it's definitely an inconvenience to try to undo it and then pull the whole thing out, especially if you are only one-handed at the time. If you do this, try to pull it out, let go, it's automatically gonna lock. So you kind of need two hands to do this.
If you like compare it to something with a Cobra buckle, this that Blue Alpha one, the way they do their adjustability is pretty different. It's not the ratcheting system, it's a Velcro system. So, if you're running inside, outside the waistband, you gain some weight, whatever, you're pulling that and you're throwing it back. But it's a matter of just clicking it like a seatbelt, as opposed to, hunting for something and then grabbing it out. But
same thing with the Agonic belt. It is pretty easy to kind of find where that cell is in that belt, and super easy to kind of just push it in towards that cell. also very easy to pull it out. Now that adjustability isn't always going to be the exact same, just because the cells are maybe about an inch apart from each other from each center. But besides that, that'd be probably one of our things about this clasp is getting it unhooked and getting it back in.
The only other con that we really have is something that probably wouldn't even apply to most people is with these like protector sleeves and the tip keeper, getting that through the loops on your pants, it's a little frustrating.
Immediately stops the belt as you're pulling it through. And if you need to pull off your belt pretty quickly, that also does stop. We've had other belts with these tip keepers, just because these things are pretty thick, height and width-wise. These tip keepers right here are also pretty thick. They're great quality, but they will stop your belt from coming all the way out. Unless you have some of those kind of extended belt hoops on your pants.
The larger ones.
Yeah, like the 1.75 inch ones. We just have the 1.5 inch ones. This is 1.5 inches, and it immediately just stops the belt from coming out or even going in. So that'd really be our only gripe about that. Well, that's really about it. These core belts overall have honestly been solid. These things have been super comfortable. Basically everything that we've said, super comfortable, they're versatile, and really, really convenient as long as they're on your waist. Besides that, all of the other things that we've kind of pointed out as cons really aren't that big of a con. That wouldn't stop me from going out and buying one myself. So Core, thank you very much for sending these out.
Yeah, couldn't recommend it more.
And we do recommend them to a lot of friends so far. So
yeah, and if you guys are looking to buy some core gear or belts for yourself, the guys over there were definitely super cool and were nice enough to give us a discount code. So make sure to check out that one in the description box. Save yourself some money. It's gonna be 10% off your purchase.
10% is pretty good, dude.
That is pretty good.
So go get you one, because these things are pretty damn good.
It's kind of powerful. Well, just a little bit.